Yes, everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well, my friends. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Almost a weekend, and West Ham can ruin it again. Anyway, lunchtime we did Rushing with a Roundup, but for players leaving the club. Lots of rumours about the likes of Mavropanos, the likes of Edson Alvarez, Freddie Potts, amongst that Luis Al. Do you remember Luis Al? The forgotten man, Maxwell Cornet. So check that out. And I gave you my theory about the circle of life. The circle of life, or the evolution of West Ham, the 5-year plan, and a couple of examples, a couple of the positions where there's the plan in place. You know, we bought players for the now, for the then, and then for the future. So we've got, defensive midfield. We've got the players now, Rodriguez, Alvarez, the then, Freddie Potts going out on loan. And then the future in terms of Mamadon Kante, we'll talk about in a minute, who he signed today. And same with just looking at the attacking position, the now, Kudus, Somerville, and then the future, in terms of George Earthy, who's out on loan. Then the future, Luis Guilherme. It sort of works. I think it works. And it shows that 5-year plan. But it's Hammers and Lads in association with the KUMB.com, boys. Check them out for the latest news, reviews, and opinions, particularly we come into the last week of the transfer window. Make sure you keep on top of all the latest rumours, opinions, and views, and we'll make sure we bring them to you as well. Don't you worry about that. But let's talk about... Let's start with Mamadon Kante. We mentioned about him the other day. It's official. West Ham have announced this morning about 10 o'clock, 9:30, something like that we've signed a 18-year-old defensive midfielder from Paris FC in Ligue 2. He joins the Hammers on a permanent transfer, 5-year contract, but we will return to Paris FC on loan for the rest of the 24-25 season. Born in Paris, Kante was a regular in the under-19s of Paris FC, PFC, last season, and has also featured for the club's B team as well. West Ham, we like to wish him all the best, mate, in his loan spell back at Paris, and hopefully we'll see him in the claret and blue one day at West Ham as they're part of the circle of life. Now, there's a picture that West Ham put on their website of Kenny Brown, the academy manager, with the whole over the top of him. I then called Kenny. He's apparently a unit. He's 18, but he's a unit because he looks so much bigger. And he was almost the same height as Kenny, and Kenny was standing up, and Kante was sitting down. But apparently he's an absolute unit. So look, he looks a little bit Amadou Onana as well, because he had the braids as well. So look, exciting times. And as I said, the whole thing around the then, the now, the future. Kante is very much one for the future. And same as Luis Guilherme is one for the future. But we wish Kante and we'll make sure we keep an eye on the older Paris FC under-19s in our wrap-up of our Academy wrap-up. We do every Monday as part of the Academy show, and see how he gets on. This year's Andy Irving. Right, let's talk about some players we've been linked with. Let's talk about centre-halves. We spoke at lunchtime about the potential of, the Zuma, the Aged, Mavropanos. I think Holly mentioned yesterday up to 9 players West Ham are potentially open to selling. But there's a couple of players we've been linked with today. One is the Galatasaray centre-half, Victor Nelson, and that's according to The Guardian. They reported that a deal could be done for around 12 million quid with the Hammers, obviously reliant on sales first in terms of who before we bring in someone else. 25-year-old Danish international. He's also wanted by Sevilla, Lille, and Bologna. Bologna seems to be after everyone we want to buy as well. Anyway, so obviously we're balancing the books a little bit now in terms of, before we get the next one in. I mean, in essence, we'd have brought in 3 centre-halves. The wages, transfer fee, seems a little bit one too many. A little bit one too many, but if we sell, we'll have to bring in to make sure you got cover. Yeah, I don't know much about him. Obviously, Galatasaray, we were talking about some other their players before. Davinson Sanchez, former Tottenham centre-half. Obviously, Wilfried Zaha we were looking at. We were looking at Barry Yilmaz as well. So, and obviously the likes of Galatasaray were interested in Soufal. There might be a deal to be done there potentially. I don't know, but a strange one. I don't know much about him, but sometimes those are the ones which I enjoy the most because they mean there's some scouting me gone there and some analysis and data and things like that. So this guy's been identified by Maximilian Hahn, and Moritz has had a look at him as well. It's good enough for me. Good enough for me. Another player we've been linked with, and apparently we've been scouting recently. We spoke about him last summer, definitely, in last transfer window, is the England 21 international Middlesbrough player Hayden Hackney. And apparently, we're interested in potentially making a move, according to reports. We face competition for Spurs and Wolves for the midfielder, the 22-year-old defensive midfielder. He's impressed at Middlesbrough. He's under the tutelage former West Ham Academy graduate Michael Carrick. However, the issue with Hayden is fitness. He missed a lot of football last year with a couple of injuries, groin, knee injuries. He only actually played 21 times for Middlesbrough in the Championship last year, and they finished 8th. And obviously, we are looking at other midfielders, Carlos Soler, for example, who is apparently very keen on a move to West Ham. But other clubs are interested. Real Sociedad apparently showing interest in him now in terms of replacing Arsenal-bound Mikel Moreno. So if we're unable to make a significant sale or significant savings with the squad, I'd say in the next few days, the Soler deal might fall through because he might go to Real Sociedad potentially if they sort of jump ahead of him in the game. And that might be why we're looking at Hayden. He's a different type of player than Soler, more of a defensive midfielder. You think why maybe we need him when we're, sending on the likes of Freddie Potts, or not sending on, but sending out rather the likes of Freddie Potts on loan potentially. So exciting, young player that West Ham fans will get behind because he's English. He's got a name. He's got Hackney in his surname. I mean, it's just Hayden Hackney. Sounds like a 1970s footballer. But we'll see. We'll see. And actually, Hayden is our 200th player that we've been linked with. How exciting this transfer window. How mental is that? And that's it, my friends. Make sure you keep an eye on all the news, reviews, opinions on thesearmybrand.com. Make sure you check out also the fact we've our channel sponsors, one of our channel partners, lovely guys over at Alloy Collectors, have just released. It's released now. The 1965 Cup Winners' Cup metal kit available now on the website. WHN15 for 15% off. But, fantastic. Really good. I gave one to Stag the other day. He loved it. And apparently he's going to try and get his grandson to put the number, because you can put the numbers on the back. So he's going to try and put the number on the back for his shirt when he was in the final. But anyway, that's it, my friends. Take care. Stay safe. Stay warm. Stay humble. Keep the faith, my friends. And come on, you bloody irons. Irons!